Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Marina here, and as always it is a pleasure to come to you in another video. Our August visitor is back. Hi baby.
Hello. Hi everyone. Marina's daddy. I'm getting used to that. I'm getting used to it. We have an exciting topic today. Marina has squeezed my hand to do this, so yeah, I'm excited to get this started.
Yeah, I'm just finding that as we're going on this new journey of rebuilding our friendship, rebuilding our marriage, rebuilding our relationship, we're finding things that we think will be beneficial to you, the audience, and that's why I pin him down to come and talk about these things. Not because I can't talk about it myself, but I just feel like when people, especially my male audience, when they hear some things from the point of view of a man, it makes a whole lot more sense and it carries more weight. So that's why I brought you here to talk about this particular topic today. As you can tell from the title, today we're going to be talking about counseling. A lot of debate goes on online everywhere about counseling. Does it work? Does it not work? Should people disregard? Today, we're going to be sharing from our experience how counseling has helped our marriage. We're going to be talking about all of it. Like, when does it not work? When does it work? When should you consider counseling? Who should you even be talking to when you're looking for counseling? All of that we're going to be talking about in today's video. So if you have not subscribed, this is a good time to hit subscribe. Please share it. This is going to help a lot of people. So please do well to share it. Have fun. And of course, we always want to hear your perspective. So please leave comments as you're watching. If anything stands out to you, leave the comments in the comment section and we'll get to them. Okay, mister. You know I always like to start with you. So let's talk about counseling. We are in counseling. We've been in counseling before and we have seen different results every time. First of all, let's talk about the counseling that we've done in the past. Do you want to speak a bit about that experience and what the outcome was?
Yeah, so previously we've done group counseling, we've done one-on-ones. I think what was different then was mindset, the attitude of going into counseling. I will admit I didn't want to. There are a lot of things action items that I was like. The truth about counseling is it's like any other meeting with a doctor. If you don't tell them what the symptoms are, they can only prescribe based on what you've told them.
Based on what you've told them,
absolutely. I think wrong attitude then was one of the things that we tried to change this time. And that was my fault, I would say.
When we make these videos, we talk about what the topic we're going to talk about, but I hear some of the things he's going to say for the first time when he says it. I like it when you put yourself on blast, so I don't have to. Yes, so attitude was one of the reasons. In fact, we did group counseling, we did one-on-one. You did counseling by yourself. I've done counseling by myself. Do you remember? What was different was wrong attitude. And I'll admit that it was wrong attitude from both ends. While he has admitted the things that he did wrong, I'm also going to admit I can see you, baby. Baby,
I thought it was only me.
No, it was not only you. It takes two people to make it work. Okay. So I'm going to admit my part as well. Okay. The part of... So every time we went to counseling previously, it was my idea. Like, it was basically me driving the thought of let's go for counseling. The response that I got from you was almost like, I'm doing this because you want me to do it, not because you saw a need for us to do it. So that was the first struggle, and that's why I feel like I got the response or the attitude that I saw you not taking some of the things that we were told to do seriously. It was because of that. It was almost like you were doing it for me, not because you saw the need. I, on the other hand, went to counseling from the angle of I'm the one who has been wronged. I'm the one who's right. He's the one that's wrong. Let me go and drag him somewhere so somebody will tell him he's wrong. I did not go there with the attitude of I'm going to go and learn how I can do things differently so that our outcomes will be different. Does that make sense? I went there with that attitude of I'm the one who's right. I'm the one who's in the wrong. And then when they asked me, what did he do wrong? And I realized I couldn't even explain. Like, okay, seriously though, what did he even do? I now had to go back like step by step to say, okay, I just found out that I was overtaken by my emotions. I was overtaken by feelings that started to cloud the facts that were on ground. And by the time I was able to separate emotions from the actual facts, I realized that this is actually not as serious as I've been blowing it to be. Like, go away. It was serious. But basically the attitude had to change from both ends.
And that's to buttress what you said. The fact that you said you were blowing it out of proportion per se. I don't think you're just saying it lightly, but the compounding effect of those little foxes.
Exactly.
You might say, okay, maybe I don't like the way he talked to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay, maybe I was upset, but if it's repeated,
how it now made me feel, exactly.
over time.
When we got to the root cause of some of those issues, we realized that, okay, the main problem was not the big deal. It was how it had played out over the years and the effect of me just saying some things and feeling like, okay, you can't hear me, you're disregarding how I feel. Those were the serious parts. But the actual root cause of some of these things we're dealing with was not as serious as I thought. It was a difficult situation. I don't mean to downplay that, but just saying that when I was able to separate emotions from the actual facts on ground, it made a lot more sense how we could then find solutions going forward. So yes, that's the attitude. That was the first step that we had to change for us to get a different outcome this time. So the next thing that I would say poses to be a major struggle when it comes to like counseling, why people don't get the right result, is who they're talking to. Like, who is the counselor that you're talking to? That title has been thrown around so much that anybody and their cats can claim to be a counselor. But I don't know where that came from. Anyway, for you to get the right results from counseling, you have to be talking to the right person. Like, see, in this part, it works differently for different people. For some people, they have found the right counseling talking to their parents. Some people is their siblings. Some people is their pastors or the head of their religious organizations. But for us, we were very particular about talking to somebody who's actually a trained counselor. That somebody holds a religious title doesn't automatically make them a trained counselor. I'm collecting fish from troubled waters by saying this. Some people are going to come for me, but that's the truth. The fact that somebody has a religious title doesn't automatically make them qualified to be a counselor. You want to talk a little bit?
Yeah, and that doesn't mean they can't counsel too. So don't
I
get it
agree.
wrong. There's some people who have good marriages and they know how to tell you how they got good marriages.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some people who they don't know how to relay that information to you. That's why getting someone who's trained, the steps and process and feedback and things you need to do, actionable steps that can get you the results you want. I think that's what makes a difference, baby, right? Because there's so many people in quote who have good marriages, but how did they get there? They really can't itemize everything.
They just say it's good.
You, right? So,
they just say it's good. I don't feel like that thing helps anybody. I feel like we need to see more people who are not afraid to talk about the struggles that they have actually had in marriage. I feel like we need to see more people who are unashamed to say, this is why I failed and this is what I'm doing right. Everybody just looks so happy. Everybody just looks like, okay, they have it all put together, especially online. When you're celebrating anniversaries, you're wearing the same clothes. You now come and write those really nice things about each other. When we know that, man, there were days where both of you wanted to kill each other. Why don't we see those sides of the story to make it a little more realistic and give people something to hold on to, and then remind them that, okay, you're not alone in this phase of your marriage where it seems like both of you are struggling. You're not the only one. Like, it's happening to a lot of other people. We just need to see a little more relatable, a little more realistic stories out there.
Yeah, people want to post the right content, but I think that's where you actually have to look out for when you're looking for help and looking for resources around marriages and all that. Looking for the right resources. I think we'll talk about.
Yes, we'll talk a little more about that. One other thing, babe, that it just crossed my mind. One other thing that I would say that makes people struggle with counseling is not having a goal. So counseling is like one of those things where it's like you have to first define the end goal and then work things backwards. Mm-hmm. Why are you going to counseling? What are you hoping to get from this? Assuming that you are on the same page, you want your marriage to work. What is now making your marriage not work? So it seems like you're going to the end, which is we want this relationship to work, and then work it backwards to say, how do we get from maybe like current states to desired state and things like that. Work it backwards. Have a goal. If you have a goal, it will help you manage your expectations. Because some people believe that counseling is magic. It's not magic. Because at the end of the day, like you had said earlier, they're going to work with what you present. If you go there and you're not sincere about the truth, how is anybody going to help you? Mm-hmm. If you go there and you're provided action items and they say, okay, this is what you can try to make this work, and you don't do it, you will not see any result. And it's not the counselor's fault. So in actual sense, it is not magic. It still requires you to put in the work. It still requires you to show up. It still requires you to show up with the right attitude, the right attitude to learn, the right attitude to not be afraid to call yourself out. I'm going to let Mr. Eteng speak a little more about that, but don't be afraid to call yourself out. Go there with the attitude of, we're in this together, this relationship must work, and we're not going to stop until we achieve that result. So that's the major reason why we have struggled with counseling in the past. So now we're going to talk about how has counseling helped us this time. What is different this time with our experience?
Like we said earlier, I think that mindset shift. Having done it a few times and realized, okay, we're doing it wrong. I was doing it wrong. I had to accept a few things and face my fears. Really, I don't think many people would admit to that, but the fear of the fact that I could have been wrong all this while, right, is one of the things that I had to deal with. And just knowing that if I'm wrong, that means there probably are changes I need to make. I didn't want to make those changes, or I thought I was right. And something I also realized, babe, is that, I also had to come to the fact that I may hear some things I've never heard before, and I don't have to be offended by them, or like, why am I just hearing this now? Because I mean, either the spouse or you maybe actually have the opportunity to remember some things that you didn't have the chance to say. So, facing my fear, realizing that I may have to make some changes, which was uncomfortable, but that mindset shift, I think those are subsets of changing mindset.
Okay, baby, I have a follow-up question there. So somebody put a comment in one of the previous videos we're done together, and they were just saying that it is hard to find an African man agree to go to counseling. By the way, I am the one who got dragged to counseling this time. It's my African man that took me to counseling. What really happened? Was there like a particular incident that brought you to that point where you felt we need to go to counseling? Do you want to share? Are you comfortable?
That's a fantastic question. Okay, so the way I knew there was something wrong is when you look at finances, we didn't disagree. Looked at kids, maybe a few disagreements here, but holistically the vision was the same. We looked at careers, the vision was the same. But when it came to marriage, there was something wrong. Like, how can you get it right in all of these areas and, you get it wrong in this one? So, I just got to the point where, okay, there's something I'm missing. How can you solve a problem with the same level of knowledge that got you there in the first place? So I think that's one of the things that was my momentum or propelling force to say, okay, guy, you really don't know what you're doing. You think you do, but you don't. So I would say that was the greatest motivating factor for this time around.
And how that showed up was that our marriage just basically reached a breakdown. When I say breakdown, we were not fighting every day. There was silence. That's how you know something is off. There was no war, but there was no peace. There was no fighting, but there was no laughter. We just reached a point where it was dead silence. We talked as needed. We talked about everything but each other. Like that connection, it seemed like we came to like a standstill. So when he came up with the idea of going to counseling, I'm like, I'm sorry, what? You say? Sir? I didn't want to go, honestly. Because my head was still, we're going to do it the way we have done it other years. I'm not going to go and waste my time. But this time, he was the one that came up with, babe, I think we need help. I just got to the point where I'm like, my husband is the one driving this conversation. Wow, somebody pinch me. I still had to do small shakarasha, but eventually I went. And boy, am I glad I did. I am so glad that I did. Where can people find resources? Okay, now I'm open to the idea of going to counseling. Where can I start from? Who should I be looking for? We have said don't talk to the wrong people. How then should I know who is right?
I think for us, we in the past we have used people who we really looked up to, people who we respected, people who we can see their antecedents and all of that. But also we wanted it to be objective, where there are no biases. I know a lot of times family, parents, in-laws, whatever, there's some bias to it regardless of what we say. So I think we wanted it to be objective, but we also wanted very specifically someone who knew what they were doing, right? So
one way that we were able to filter like which people knew what they were doing. So when I say counseling, we had structured counseling where we had a counselor that we meet on a periodic basis to talk about specific things, but there were other resources that we leveraged while we were at it. There were resources, there were people that were listening to, like marriage teachers that we would listen to, and how we were able to filter what we were taking was we were looking for people who taught things that aligned with our values. People who taught things that align with our fundamental beliefs. Like we're Christians, the gospel is the foundation of our lives. So we're able to use our beliefs from the gospel, from the God that we know for ourselves, to identify who aligned with that value, so that we could filter when people were teaching culture and presented it as the gospel. I feel like I'm shaking the table, but the truth is there's a lot of culture that's being peddled out there and people are labeling it, this is marriage advice on the basis of the Bible. But no, you're teaching culture. Because we already had an understanding of God for ourselves, it was easy for us to filter. And talking about resources, one particular set of marriage counselors that I found was such a huge blessing to both of us were Pastor Mildred and Pastor Kingsley Okonkwo of Davis Christian Center in Nigeria. I've listened to them for the last couple of years. I introduced my husband to them. We would listen to them separately. Sometimes we would talk about what we have listened to and just see what changes we can implement. Some other times we would listen separately and not talk to each other about it. But Pastor Mildred and Pastor Kingsley have been such a huge blessing to us. And if you're in Canada, great news. Pastor Kingsley and Pastor Mildred are going to be in Canada for the Love, Dating and Marriage Tour 2024. This year, they're going to be visiting Edmonton and Saskatoon. They're going to be in our city, yay. So if you live in Edmonton or environs, if you live in Saskatoon and environs, Love, Dating and Marriage is coming right to your doorstep. For the Edmonton event, it would be on the 4th of May, and for the Saskatoon event, it would be on May 11th, 2024. I'm going to leave links in the description box on how you can get the tickets and register for the event that is closest to you. Please don't miss this. Last year, Pastor Kingsley came to Canada, did not go to Edmonton and Saskatoon, and we made noise. This year, he's coming back. So if you're in
Regina, right?
He was in Regina. So we traveled to Regina for that. But this year, Pastor Kingsley is coming to Saskatoon. So Regina peeps, it's your turn to come back. So if you missed the Regina event last year, you get a chance to travel and come to Saskatoon. Take it as an opportunity to enjoy some time away from your regular routine with your partner. If you're around Saskatoon, if you're around Edmonton, please make sure you get tickets for the event closest to you. It'll be an opportunity to meet you guys because we will both be there, and it'll be exciting to meet as many of you, and always so nice when we get to meet you guys. So Love, Dating and Marriage 2024 tour will be a great resource for those of you who are looking for where to start for counseling and where you can start to just find how you can put some spice into your relationship. What do you think is the hindrance? Is there any other thing about counseling that you say makes it difficult for people to consider it? Because we've talked about the fear of mindset, we've talked about people just don't have a lot of role models to look up to, so they don't believe that counseling is real or it works. What else would you say is a hindrance?
I don't know if it's everybody, but I feel maybe there's a stigma or some sort of labeling that you get. It's like a
like people are ashamed to admit they're in counseling.
But yeah, that kind of thing, to think, oh, you went to counseling, like there's something wrong with you, So I think maybe that is something people are worried about. That may be a reason, just the stigma and the labeling that comes with you went to counseling, like there's something wrong with you. So
if that's stigma, please, there's something wrong with me. I will go. Because either way, when the marriage breaks down, we will still hear that something was wrong. The whole time we will know.
And maybe it's a thing of the African man too, culture. There's a patriarchy. No
third party. Don't tell anybody. Those things.
You're this strong man. Nothing gets to you. You should be able to fix everything. But I mean, some of us probably didn't get the full concept of what a man should be, right? It's not all muscle and all of that. It's not external. It's very internal.
Yeah, I totally agree. Some of the beliefs that have been handed down to us are like in direct contravention of getting help. for a man, it's like you must man up, you must do it yourself, you must be able to figure it out. And then all those ideas of no third party, I think I get where that would have originated from the angle of, okay, you should be able to sort out your issues and not put it out in public. But there's also the place of knowing when to now get that external help, which comes back to what we talked about initially about who you're talking to. I don't expect that if you have issues with your husband, you're putting it on social media. You're not going to get help from that.
I think just like anything else, counseling can be abused.
Absolutely.
Right? Where, like you said, you're out there and you haven't even tried anything. So I think there's also a balance and a moderation to it. Yes, there's a part of you doing your best and also with the wisdom to say, okay, I need help. But when you're out there just seeking advice from
everywhere, exactly. That's not we can't really call that counseling, because it goes back to what we said in the beginning. Like, you're not talking to them, or the intent. Okay, I get you.
Seek advice. Help. We call it counseling, but seek advice.
Gotcha.
And then when you seek advice from so many places, then that may be a problem.
Absolutely, I get what you mean. Like, my guy, you're deep. Oh, deep go. Well, the final thing that I'll talk about when it comes to what I think holds people back from counseling is money. Counseling costs money. That's the truth. For some people, they just look at it like, this is not money I can afford. This is not money I'm willing to spend. But I find that a lot of people don't realize that, especially if you're in Canada, your employer benefits involves counseling. You can actually get employee family assistance services. They're called different things in different organizations. But most of those benefit programs, the wellness programs that employers offer, it actually has provision for you to get counseling. It might be short-term counseling, so maybe a limited number of sessions. If you need more than that, then you pay out of pocket. But guys, at the end of the day, we can only say it's too expensive because we can put a dollar amount to what it costs us. But what we cannot put a dollar amount on is the emotional trauma, is the emotional abuse. It's all the baggage that you're carrying on a daily basis in your marriage because you're not addressing your issues and you're not getting help. Nobody can put a dollar figure to that, because if you do, you realize that the cost of counseling is chicken change. At the end of the day, if you decide that no, I'm not getting counseling because it's expensive, your marriage reaches the point where it is separation and divorce, you are still going to pay. Divorce and separation is not cheap. Either way, you are going to drop the bill is going to come somehow. It's now up to you to decide which bill do you want to pick. Do you want to pay the price now and go to counseling and improve your relationship so that it improves other areas of your life, or you're going to wait until you reach a point of no return and you will still give that money to a lawyer? So think about it and weigh your options, and just let's put our priorities straight. Let's put things in the right order now so that we don't have to get to that point where you're paying those hefty legal fees because it could have been avoided sooner, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap this up?
No, I think this is it's a good topic, to be honest. And one last thing I would say is counseling is like exercise. If you're building your back or your triceps or your biceps and you have like a 6-week program, you don't stop at the first week. You're like, this isn't working. You go through the end, see to the end. So I think, that's another thing I'll say. That's
such a nice way to end this. Like, if you're in counseling, some days you will be see, there's nobody who goes to counseling and on the first day they are seeing results. I don't know any couple. If it has happened to you, please leave it in the comment section. By the time we go into that first session, sometimes you come back more angry because you will hear things. Again, I heard things that threatened my position as I thought I was the one that was right. So when I heard some things that put me in a position of maybe you're the one that's wrong, I did not want that. I resisted it. So the first session is not always the sweetest one. The second one, the third one might not be the sweetest one. Even though you're not seeing the desired results right now, please keep at it. Keep going. You will thank yourself that you did, because in the course of all of these sessions, we're learning discipline. We're learning to listen. I'm learning to listen for him. I'm learning to listen to him, not listening to reply. Not waiting for him to finish so I can land my own point. My own point that's a killer. It's just to stop. Baby, stop that. Okay, I saw you. My side eye still works. So I'm learning to listen for. I'm learning to extend grace. I'm learning to be more empathetic. That's the word, right? Mm-hmm. I'm learning to show more empathy, to extend grace and all of that, because counseling is imbibing some kind of discipline. And because it's a neutral party that is doing this, nobody has any, it's because it's your friend, that's why they're giving you advice that favors you. We're both just going there to learn, to listen, and learn how to love upon each other, because guys, Forever is the desire, but nothing is guaranteed. We might as well just enjoy the time that we have left on this side of eternity while we're building a family and building a partnership together. So we thought we would come share that part of our journey with you guys, and to encourage everybody else who's still on the fence. Maybe it's time for you to take the plunge. You just never know what the outcome will be. And if you're looking for resources, again, please don't forget to check the description box for the link on how you can get tickets to the Love, Dating and Marriage Canada Tour 2024. Pastor Kingsley and Pastor Mildred are coming to a city close to you, and I cannot wait. I'm super excited. And hopefully we would see you guys there, because we'll be there. You understand yourself?
Yeah, I'm going to get food now.
Yeah, I'm hungry too. Okay. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. Until the next time Zaddy comes to visit us, it's us saying thank you and have an awesome day.
Bye.
Bye, guys.